Hey guys, I hope that you can all hear me well and see me well, because I'd love to make the next 15 minutes as interactive as possible, especially towards the end. So if you sit in the back, come to the front. Before I get there though, I want to tell you a little secret about myself. There's something in my life that I've always been really, really bad at, horrible at, and that's driving. In fact, I failed my driver's test 3 times before my instructor finally had mercy with me. Now, my bad driving has harassed me pretty much and haunted me my whole life, until a few years ago when the likes of Careem and Uber came along. Today I know that I'll never ever in my life have to drive again. And believe me, that makes me extremely happy, and it makes the streets of Dubai a lot safer. Now, this was a pretty fundamental change to my life that was made possible by something that happened just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Steve Jobs stood on a stage and presented this for the first time, the first real smartphone. And this little device has changed all of our lives dramatically over the last 10 years. How, you're asking? Mainly by giving us superpowers. Superpowers like seamless transportation in any major city of the world, or access to any piece of content ever created, anytime and anywhere. And that's why today we spend 20 to 30% of our waking hours looking at our mobile screen. 10 years ago, it was less than 5%, and TV was still the predominant medium. That's a pretty fundamental change in how we live our days and live our lives. I believe that the next 10 years are going to be equally, if not more transformative than the last 10 years. And there's 3 key technologies that are going to drive that change. The first of these technologies is, yes, it is still mobile. The mobile revolution is not over, believe me. And one of the key reasons for that is that consumers are moving extremely quickly and businesses are often lagging behind. Can any of you guys give me the name of a big company, maybe a tech company, that moved too slow on mobile? Anyone? Facebook, yeah. Good guess. We did. These were the headlines just 5 years ago, and they weren't pretty because we'd moved too slow on mobile. And that required pretty big changes in how we operated back then. And one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg, our founder, did back then is he said, you know what? I'm not going to take meetings anymore if they're desktop-first meetings. You had to reschedule those meetings. And believe me, his calendar was pretty empty for a while. But today, we consider ourselves a mobile-first company. And when we think about mobile, we think about 3 key things. And I think those are also the kind of things that you guys should think about. The first thing is in-app feeds and more in-app stories, news feeds and stories, because let's be honest, that's how we spend our time on the mobile phone. We are not exploring the mobile web. We're doing this all day long, and we're doing a bit more of this every day now. 1.9 billion people on Facebook globally, more than 150 million in the MENA region. More than 600 million people on Instagram globally, more than 60 million in the MENA region. These are the new discovery engines of the world, and if you're a business, you have to be on there, and you have to get attention. The second big thing on mobile for us is messaging. I want to ask you guys a question, and be honest. How many of you, raise your arm, if you get a little bit nervous, awkward, angry when your phone rings? Maybe even angry with your friends if they call you rather than messaging you? Lots of hands are going up, right? You want to communicate on your own terms. And that's why today, 6 out of the top 10 most downloaded apps are messaging apps. Messaging has become the de facto communication standard between people, and it will eventually become the de facto communication standard between businesses and people. And I believe that bots will play a very important role here, and that the easiest use cases, like customer service, are going to be the most successful ones initially. Now, the third thing about mobile that we really care about is expressive visual communication. I want to do a little test with you guys. Have a look at the screen. Oops. That was supposed to be a lot shorter. That was supposed to be 30 milliseconds, and you would have recognized it. What did you guys see? A van, right? That was supposed to be a lot shorter. You would have seen it anyways. And the reason for that is that our human brains process images 60,000 times faster than words. We need visual communication to be able to digest all that information that we're getting every day now. And that's why the mobile world is moving really, really quickly to become a camera-first and a video-first world. Now, a lot of you guys have probably heard people talk about mobile for many, many years. And maybe some of you guys are bored to hear more about mobile. But that doesn't change the fact that for 99.9% of businesses, mobile is still the single biggest opportunity out there. So in my opinion, it should also be your single biggest opportunity. Now, the second big technology that's going to change all of our lives is artificial intelligence. And I'm not an expert when it comes to how exactly AI works. But what I do believe is that there is a fundamental misunderstanding on what AI is actually going to look like. I want to do another little test with you guys. Please close your eyes, all of you. Do me a favor, close your eyes. Do me another favor, don't fall asleep. Rather, think about AI. What comes to mind? All right, you can open your eyes again. Now, most people that I speak with, they think of something like this. Any of you here? Yeah, there's quite a few hands. That's not what I think of when I think of AI. When I think of AI, I think more of something like this. Much less groundbreaking, much more boring, but equally groundbreaking. Electricity. I don't think that AI is necessarily going to be this machine with a human-like consciousness that eventually is going to turn against humanity. I think AI instead is going to be relatively cheap, industrialized, and very, very specialized intelligence that is going to run behind everything. I don't think AI is going to have a face. I think AI is going to be everywhere, just like electricity is everywhere. And when electricity was invented, there was a lot of progress because you added electricity to a water pump and it was made better. You added electricity to a hand wringer and it was made better. That was huge progress back then. And I believe that even more things can be made better by adding just a little bit of intelligence to it. The potential is huge, no matter if you're talking about machine, about processes, or even about humans. I want to show you a little example from the field of the computer vision, where we used AI to improve the lives of visually impaired people.
Friends 937. Newsfeed. Lindsay Russell updated her cover photo yesterday at 10:29 p.m. This image may contain outdoor, cloud, foliage, flat, tree. This image may contain 6 people, child, close up, like. One or more people, jewelry, smiling. 19 likes, 3 comments like.
Now I can see the picture in my head. Like, yeah, you shouldn't have been that close up. Like, now I can say it.
Oh, I love it. You have no idea. This is amazing.
That whole saying of pictures being worth 1,000 words, I think it's true, but unless you have somebody to describe it to you, even having like 3 words just helps flesh out all the details that I can't see.
I feel like I can fit in. If there's more I can do.
I can just call my mom like, yay, I seen your picture. And she'll be like, what? She was like, how you see it? Because my phone read it to me. It's new. And I'm going to mess with my mother head so much.
Thanks. So I don't think AI is going to replace us. I think it's going to amplify our senses and everything that we do. Now, the last big technology that's going to change our lives is virtual reality. Most people, and actually before I talk about the opportunity of virtual reality, I want to take a step back and talk a little bit about what virtual reality actually means. Most people that explain virtual reality, they focus on the word virtual. But I actually think that's the wrong word to focus on. I think you have to focus on the word reality. I like my movies, and one of my favorite movies, Morpheus, from The Matrix, actually gave a pretty good explanation of what VR is, or of what reality is. Have a look.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
So reality, everything that you see in this room right now, is actually just electrical signals that are interpreted by your brain through your sensors, like eyes and ears. The problem is that the sensors that we use are pretty flawed, and these sensors only capture a fraction of reality. And that means that reality is actually created and inferred in our brains rather than being recorded by our sensors. By now you probably think I'm a madman that I watched The Matrix too many times, right? But let me try to show you an example where this inference mechanism in our brain, and I hope the videos here work because that's crucial, where this inference mechanism where we create reality in our brains breaks down. Have a look at this video and observe what you hear.
Bar, 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 bar.
All right, we hear saying bar, 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 right? Yeah? Good. Have a look at this next video. Just a very slight difference to the video.
Bar, 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 bar.
What do you hear her saying now? Far, far, far? Yes, so now you hear her saying far, far, far. But she is not saying far, far, far. She's actually still saying bar, bar, bar. The problem is that her lip movement suggests that she says bar, far, far, far. So the visual overrode the audio. And the audio was the reality. You still don't believe me, right? Let me show you one more example. Now it's a split screen. There's one audio file. There's one reality. Look at the screen and move your head from left to right and then from right to left. And observe of what you hear is changing.
Bar, 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 bar.
Yeah. Thanks. It's one audio file, right? So it's pretty impressive, and that's basically what VR is all about. We're creating illusions that trick our brains. We make our brains believe that we feel or hear or see something. And most use cases of VR today are all about gaming and about experiencing amazing places out there in the world. And I think those are great use cases. But I actually believe that the most interesting use case for the VR in the next 10 years is going to be social VR. Last year, a good friend of mine and a colleague of mine, Narain, moved from Dubai to New York. However, just this last weekend, we were goofing around, hanging out, and playing charades, despite the fact that we were 10,000 kilometers away from each other. Unfortunately, my voice didn't get recorded in our little VR experiment, but I hope that this video gives you at least a glimpse of what I mean with social VR.
Well, here we are.
That's me, Johnny.
A little bit of teleporting like that. GIF camera. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you've tried this already then? Oh, thanks. It's here, catch. Oh, there you go. That worked all right, huh? A little bit of frisbee. Ooh, basketball. But the clock is ticking.
Now, remember that this was the first time that I played charades on VR, yeah?
Pizza? Pizza? Okay, yeah, hit the green button.
That was pretty cool. And to finish up, a little bit of love for step as well. Now, this is obviously super early days in social VR, right? And the experience is going to get a lot better. But I do hope that it gives you a sense of what's going to be possible at some point. Social VR will have the potential to totally change the way that we all interact with each other. So over the last 10 years, technology has dramatically changed all of our lives. And I think that over the next 10 years, mobile, AI, and VR is going to change our lives even more dramatically. I think in 10 years' time, we'll all look back and say, whoa, how has that much change happened in just 10 years? So let's embrace that change. Let's be part of it rather than being surprised by it. Thank you very much.